So are we allowed to call this cock blockers, or is that a no? So I just got to see in Blockers, you know, the latest comedy. There's been a lot of comedies coming out lately. I don't know if that's just me, but it feels like there's been a lot more comedies coming out in recent times. Guess I can't really complain because there's like 500 superhero movies every year. But anyways, I was going into this kind of like hesitant like I am with any comedy really, especially like R-rated, raunchy comedies. Because you never know, because some of them are funny, some of them not so much. So I figured with the premise and, you know, the cast involved, it could be okay. I mean, the director, Kay Cannon, directed, well, she wrote Pitch Perfect, you know, 1, 2, and 3, and she did a lot of 30 Rock, and I really like 30 Rock, so I figured, I mean, it could be good, could be bad, let's find out. Just like any comedy I go and see, obviously I hope that it's actually funny, of course, but I also just hope that not every single funny thing is just in the trailers, and then when you get into the film, that, you know, there's nothing that you haven't seen before, so it's not really that funny. But I think in this case, there actually is some decent humor that's not in the trailers. I mean, if you're into, it's only if you're into raunchy comedies, because if you're not into raunchy comedies, this is definitely the wrong film for you. But yeah, I'd at least say this film is at least mildly funny. I mean, not every joke lands. I mean, some of them I just kind of like chuckled at. But there are a few moments sprinkled throughout the film that actually did make me laugh out loud, and I wasn't forcing myself to laugh. The plot for this film is pretty straightforward, which isn't really that surprising, because there's not really much to go off of with this plot, since it's really just all about, you know, the kids want to lose their virginity after prom, and the parents find out that that's their whole, like, sex pack thing, and hijinks ensue because they're just trying to find them throughout the whole movie to try and get them to stop from, you know, having that happen. I think what elevated this movie to actually being tolerable is the fact that they cast pretty good actors and actresses in this role as the parents. Because, you know, you go on this adventure with Leslie Mann, Ike Barinholtz.
And his name is John Cena!
Yes, that John Cena. But yeah, I think all three of them actually worked really well together. They all brought different, you know, things to the table, and they all had their own different storyline with their kids. And all of them were actually pretty good. I mean, and they were also really funny for the most part. I mean, all three of the actors are well known in, like, you know, comedies. John Cena actually had most of the funniest stuff in this movie. And I was really surprised by that just because of all the different, you know, comedic talent in this, you know, with Leslie Mann, Ike Barinholtz, and etc. But yeah, John Cena was probably the funniest part of this whole movie. I actually didn't really even mind the kids in the film at all either, and their prom dates. Because for the most part, they're actually written, like, at least decent enough where, like, they're actually interesting. And they actually get some good laughs, too. Some of them, anyways. And it's actually really, like, interesting, their whole story. Because they all have different things in the story going on. Because they're all different characters, obviously. But I'm actually really glad that they didn't write them all as the same, with the same motivation. Just that they want to, you know, have sex on prom night. They all have different situations going on. You know, one of them's got a boyfriend. One of them's crushing on a dude. And one of them's kind of mixed about their sexuality in general. Which I really wasn't expecting going into this movie, that this film would actually have, you know, touch upon all this stuff and actually have, like, a decent enough lesson at the end. Because it actually does have a really decent lesson at the end for all three of them, which I thought was actually not that bad. I actually was really surprised. You know, I was just going expecting, like, a raunchy comedy, and it actually had a decent message at the end, although it's a little muddled, but I didn't mind it. Other than just, you know, some of the jokes not landing, another negative really is just the fact that this movie takes a long time to get going. Because they don't even get to prom for like 35 minutes. And this movie is like an hour and 40-something minutes long. So it really gets, you know, it takes a while to actually get to the prom. Which kind of can get, you know, messes with the pacing a lot. And then, you know, it just keeps going and going and going fast paced from then on. Because they gotta, like, you know, it's race against the clock, obviously. So the pacing is a little weird. And just because of the fact that they, you know, it takes so long to actually get to the prom. And I was just like, when is this getting to the prom part going to happen? Because that's, you know, when you know the story's going to, you know, the ball's going to get rolling. And finally happened when I looked at my watch and it was like 30, 45 minutes into the movie. But yeah, I had a good time with this movie. I mean, it's tolerable. It's got some good laughs. And I mean, it has its flaws, like I said previously. But I mean, if it's one of those movies where you just turn your brain off, you don't really think about it too much. It's not like, you know, something thought-provoking. But yeah, I mean, if I had to go for a score, I'd probably give Blockers a C+. But yeah, those are just my thoughts about the film. Feel free to leave a comment, you know, what your thoughts about the film, or if you're excited about the film or you didn't like the film, either way. But also, feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.